Hi everybody, Mr. Penaloza here. I just wanted to take a moment to address some of the questions and concerns that have been asked or raised regarding things like marching band, fair share of the boosters, and what does band and color guard or instrumental music look like at Savanna this year. So let me kind of start with the big one, the first one that a lot of people are probably still asking or wondering if you haven't heard or kind of gotten that information yet. Marching band. Unfortunately, we are not able to have a marching season this fall, because of all of those circumstances that really seem to be extremely difficult to just put on a season. And this includes us being able to host our own Savanna tournament in the fall. So I don't think it's very viable or realistic for us to try to hold a tournament of such magnitude, an event where so many people come, and for us to really realistically be able to take care of people and to be able to have safety protocols and guidelines in place 100% of the time, all day long. I think it's a really insurmountable task to really take on, and I would like us to just kind of, I guess, really take the higher road and the more responsible road, I feel like, and just cancel the tournament. So I have sent posted an official letter where I've let other schools and other band director colleagues of mine know that we will not be hosting our Savanna tournament this fall. This includes other tournaments. Really, per my conversation with other band directors and programs, they are not going to be either having a season or hosting tournaments for those schools or programs that host one. In fact, our competitive circuit, SCSBOA, is also not going to be hosting championships like they normally do. Instead, they're willing to provide some support and critique and feedback, but really it's mostly going to be done online. Granted, as I know some of you already probably know, or most of you know, most of our schools pretty much across the state, especially here in Southern California, are doing a distance learning model. So, that really redefines kind of how we do things. So anyway, I think if we're being honest and realistic, I don't think it's at all possible to have a season right now, not to mention having to follow all of the guidelines and protocols established by our school district, our county, state, and health officials, and so forth. So this, we would encounter other issues anyway, of like social distancing. What does that look like on traveling to a competition or to a tournament? I mean, does that mean now we roll out with 12, 15 buses, and now that puts our transportation budget way out of the limit? So there's those kinds of just logistical and financial reasons and issues as well. And of course, as you know, we aren't really able to fundraise like we normally do. So that also puts a bit of a damper on our finances. But before I get to that, I want to just kind of wrap up this part of it. We will be having marching band class officially on the roster, and students will be enrolled. It'll still happen 7th period. So it'll start at 2:40 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays on those synchronous days right after the end of 6th period. And we will meet through Google Meets, because that way I have enough room to be able to host all of the marching band students and the staff that will be joining us on certain days for that. So speaking of staff, we will have Johnny Yeagerman continue to help me teach once a week on those marching band class meetings. So again, those will be Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, starting at 2:40 p.m. right after the end of 6th period, where we will meet together through Google Meet. So I will be sending out a link for us to be able to have that. Now you'd be asking, well, what are we going to do in the class? Well, we will still discuss and learn things such as learning how to read drill charts and coordinate sheets, and learning how to identify and critique perhaps some marching shows or DCI shows. We will also discuss technique, the pedagogy behind marching and how we do things. The students will be able to have an opportunity to do assignments that involve that, as well as some physical activities and exercises, because students will still be receiving their full PE credit. So we do have to incorporate a component that involves some physical activity assignments and so forth. Other things that we'll do is maybe I'd like to have student leaders help me teach some of the cheers and stuff to our newer members. We'll maybe look at a march and kind of look at the music. We'll look at pep tunes, and I'll assign those, and we'll kind of just be able to learn those so that at least we're having some sense of kind of normalcy as much as possible. So that's more or less sort of the picture as far as marching band and what that's going to look like this fall and this season. The next thing, from the financial standpoint of things, we are trying to continue to keep some of our staff on board. Not all of them, unfortunately, and even the ones we are keeping on board, it is very, very reduced from what we normally have them come in. And this includes their pay, obviously, unfortunately, but we still want to keep them on board because I think it's important that students continue to have that connection with these amazing professionals who specialize in every one of those areas or instruments or sections. So we think it's important that students continue to have that depth of knowledge and are exposed to those professionals and that information. It's going to, I think it's going to keep things interesting for the students. It's going to help keep them engaged and motivated. And it just helps keep that connection with other adults other than myself for, the next however many weeks we're going to be doing this. And the other thing that we still need to keep paying, as far as from the booster side of things, the financials, we need to keep up with things like operational costs. We need to keep up with insurance payments for just liability insurance and our transportation, our equipment insurance, and there's so many other things. We're still paying off some of our drumline drums equipment, and soon in the near future we're going to have to start paying off our new uniforms that are still in process that are going to come to us. So there's so many things that we have to just still keep things afloat financially and for the sake of just the program. The other reason for that is because if we completely just slash through our very, very little funds that we have right now to operate things, then when things resume back to normal, we have nothing to get things going, nothing to get things started. So it's going to take us that much longer to be able to get back on our feet. So we're trying to reserve our stuff, but we're also trying to find a way for things to come in, revenue. So with that being said, we are trying to find creative ways to incorporate fundraising. So if you have any thoughts or ideas on that, please let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas on that, since we can't run our normal fundraisers, and we are asking families, particularly for those students who are going to still participate in and be enrolled in the marching band class or the color guard drumline, to be able to contribute a $300 fair share for this year, for this season, if you will. Again, for those reasons I mentioned earlier, so that we can continue to run operation costs, maintenance, insurance, pay off our equipment or drums that we're paying off, be able to pay our new uniforms coming in, and so that we are able to pay some of the staff and keep some of them on board. So again, this is for the overall sake of the program, for the overall sake of the experience of the students. I know that it's going to be some challenging times, but I think that if we try to keep these pieces as normal as possible and as much as possible as we can, I think it's going to help students feel a little bit more motivated, engaged, and it's going to help their morale a little bit, because I know this is challenging. These times are challenging to be able to just have a completely shift of how we do things. And with that being said, I think that is it. That's all I have for now in terms of what things are going to look like. The last thing, though, before I forget, is so now it's like, what are we going to learn? Well, we're going to talk about other things still related to music, like we're still going to have students practice their instruments. They're going to get playing assignments, and they're going to practice their solo and chamber music, and we're going to have them play through scales and articulation exercises, rhythm reading. We're going to do some music theory. So we'll do maybe some small compositional projects. We'll engage in a little bit of music technology. We'll talk about the correlation between music and the other arts or other subjects. So there's so many ideas and things that we are tossing around in terms of what we want to expose the students to, and that way they feel like they are still connected with each other, amongst their peers, with the adults, and with the content. So I hope that helps answer some concerns and questions in the meantime. If you have any other questions or concerns that I did not discuss, or that you want to bring up on a one-on-one case basis, please let me know. Send me an email at penaloza_f@auhsd.us, or you can send an email to our boosters, which is savannahbandboosters@gmail.com, and one of our booster presidents or somebody in our boosters will be able to get in touch with you. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you all soon. I hope to be able to connect with you all. Please take care, be safe, and we'll come back with some more information once we have more. Thank you very much. Goodbye.